Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'm doing my review of NXT Battleground 2025. So first up on the card, we had Sol Rucker successfully retain the Women's North American Championship against Kalani Jordan. And that match was really good. It wasn't quite the match they had at Heatwave last year, I think it was. I feel like that match was just a little bit better, but this was still very good. You could see that the chemistry between these two is like probably one of the best partnerships in the NXT Women's division. You know, you could see by the seamless transitions to start the match where they were constantly avoiding each other's moveset by just flipping and kind of handstands, all that kind of stuff, like out of the out of each other's way. I thought it worked really well. And then as we've got further into the match, we saw the Avalanche X Factor from the top, which I thought was brutal. We saw Kalani go for a poison Rana, which Sol Rucker landed on her feet and hit a spear, which I thought was like a really good kind of section of the match. And then the Soul Slasher from the top rope, though like Kalani was maybe a little bit out of position, made it kind of work really well. And yeah, I said overall the match was very good. It's probably one of the better matches of the night in my opinion, just wasn't quite the match of the night. But yeah, I do enjoy watching these two wrestle each other. It is, well, I said, one of the better partnerships. You can tell the chemistry between them both is absolutely spot on. And yeah, if you haven't seen this one, go check it out, because as much as I feel like it's not as good as the Heatwave match, like both matches are at a very high standard. And yeah, I very much enjoyed it, and I'm glad that Sol's is still the North American champion. Following that, we had the six-man tag team match where Hank, Tank and Josh Briggs defeated the Culling in what was a pretty bang average six-man tag match. It didn't really need to be on the pay-per-view in my opinion, or if anything, if they wanted to put it on the pay-per-view, they could have put it on the pre-show. Maybe would have given some other matches some longer time. But as I said, it was fine for what it was. We got a good babyface win for Hank, Tank and Briggs, and we saw the return of Hiroki Inamura, which is kind of weird because I assumed he'd be gone for like a while and we'd see Josh Briggs kind of go more as a singles guy, but no, he was gone for about a couple of weeks and then he's come back again to reform the tag team. I think it was just a kind of way to turn that team babyface, because they probably have more heels than babyface in the tag division right now, even though the champions are very much babyfaces, and it would have made more sense to keep them heel. But, you know, I kind of get the point. It just kind of felt very quick, getting from Inamura leaving to Josh feeling like shit because he's gone, and then him coming back. I think it was like the span of 2 to 3 weeks we had that, so maybe it would have improved the storyline a little bit that way. But I said the match itself was fine for what it was. I said, like, nothing really special about it. It was a means to an end, which was the return of Inamura, and yeah, I said it was fine. It wouldn't surprise me if the Culling kind of kept targeting Hank and Tank just to go for the tag team titles, and then Inamura and Josh Briggs were kind of helping them, and it ended up in some kind of maybe a 4-on-4 with Spears getting some help from somewhere else. But yeah, I said it's a story I'm not massively interested in, but I said the match itself was perfectly okay. Following that, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, or just Stacks depending on how you want to say it, defeated Tony D'Angelo in what was a fine match again. It wasn't anything great, nothing special, but it worked really well as far as the storyline goes. They had kind of the majority of the match was done on the outside, especially the first half of it was Tony D'Angelo beating the crap out of Stacks, which made perfect sense. We saw kind of Stacks I don't know if it was cheating. Like, we saw Luca Crusifino return, and which I'm very glad to see he isn't dead in the desert. But then you saw Tony D'Angelo kind of get mad with him after the match, even though Tony decidedly got distracted by his presence at ringside. Luca didn't actually do anything to distract Tony D'Angelo. It was literally just the case of, like, he showed up, D'Angelo got distracted, Stacks hit the low blow and got the win. Which, again, makes perfect sense to me. So that the heel kind of gets the first win and then the babyface has to overcome afterwards. Do I think that Luca and Rizzo will join Stacks and turn on Tony D'Angelo? Yes, I very much do. I feel like they're going to keep it probably won't be the D'Angelo family, but it'll be the family in NXT, but it'll be Stacks, Rizzo, and Luca, and then Tony D'Angelo might go up to the main roster or might not. I don't know. I feel like they might have to change his gimmick a little bit if they're going to have him go up to the main roster, because I don't feel like the Mafia thing would work really well. But then if they're kind of transitioning that to Stacks and staying in NXT, and then Tony D'Angelo can kind of be changed up a little bit to fit the main roster a bit better. But yeah, I feel like, you know, this again very much to the 6-man tag match. It led to the means to an end, and yeah, it made perfect sense storyline wise, and I do look forward to seeing what they do next. Maybe add in a stipulation, maybe it results in some kind of steel cage match or something. But yeah, hopefully they kind of do more on-screen stuff rather than video package stuff, so then I can kind of get that more invested in it, because it was mostly video packages, I kind of found myself not as interested. I feel like I should have been. After that, we have Stephanie Vaquer successfully defending the NXT Women's Championship against Jordynne Grace in what was a very good match. It didn't quite live up to the standard of which I was hoping for. I feel like Sol and Kalani was better than this one, but only just. You know, you could see that these two can work really well. I feel like they were kind of holding back a little bit as if they're going to do a rematch between these two further down the line, which wouldn't shock me. I feel like Jordynne Grace is the natural next NXT Women's Champion. I feel like they're just going to keep Stephanie Vaquer in NXT for now. And then when Julia and Roxanne have kind of become more solid as part of the main roster, they'll bring up Stephanie not long after that. So I feel like it'd be later on this year that Stephanie drops the title to Jordynne Grace. Plus we get a good story of Jordynne Grace building back up again towards the NXT Women's Championship. But yeah, the match itself was very good, you know. I mean, it's very hard to say that they wouldn't, you know, this is kind of what we expected. You know, Stephanie Vaquer, arguably one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE, with Jordynne Grace, who is also a great talent. Probably not as good as Stephanie Vaquer, but is more than on the way there. If not, like, in her own style, Jordynne Grace is probably just as good. But yeah, I feel like it worked really well. The chemistry was definitely there between these two. And yeah, I look forward to seeing these two meet again. But for now, I feel like keeping this title on Vaquer is probably the better thing. She's one of the more popular parts of NXT, keeps people watching NXT. And then yeah, when she eventually transitions up to the main roster, then Jordynne Grace is like the ideal person to put the title on, if not Jada Parker. But yeah, no, again, it was a great match, and it fit really well into this event. Yeah, I can't say anything really bad about this one. It was very good. Following that, Oba Femi successfully defended the NXT Championship against Miles Bourne in a match that kind of went exactly how I expected it to go. You know, we saw Oba dominate for the majority of the match. There was moments where Miles Bourne, like, it seemed as if he could get the win, but it seemed inevitable that Oba was definitely retaining here. Miles Bourne looked absolutely fantastic. Do I feel like there's going to be a split from NQCC eventually? Absolutely. You know, the fact that Charlie Dempsey wouldn't kind of give Miles that bit of luck, or like, I think it was either a handshake or a fist bump or something like that before he headed to the ring, I thought it was kind of very telling, because obviously, you know, if you're part of a group and everyone in your group is supportive, they will do that. Clearly not. Dempsey's very jealous, essentially, of Miles Bourne being in this position, and he probably should be. Miles Bourne looked very good here, and looked very good against Ethan Page a couple of weeks ago, and it wouldn't shock me if he ended up kind of heading more up the card more often. Maybe not quite in the world title scene, but maybe towards the North American title scene. But yeah, I said, and Oba looked just as dominant as usual. It was kind of a very Oba style match. And yeah, it worked really well here. Oba looked, again, very, very good. And yeah, he is definitely keeping that title for a very long time. And I can't think, just like with his North American title reign, I can't think of anyone who's going to beat him anytime soon. It wouldn't shock me if he kind of went all year as champion, as I've said multiple times on the channel before. But yeah, say this fit really well within the pay-per-view. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's a very quick review. But yeah, this kind of, as I said, went exactly how I expected. You know, Miles got Oba at times, but yeah, it was inevitable that Oba was not losing here. Sorry. And finally, in the main event, Trick Williams actually defeated Joe Hendry to become the new TNA World Champion in what was arguably one of the biggest shocks of the year, I would arguably add so far. But yeah, this was a fantastic match. This worked really well. You can tell that kind of Trick and Joe like have that natural good chemistry, which I know I've said multiple times in the video, but a lot of people had good chemistry on the show. But yeah, we had the kind of comedy parts of Trick Williams doing the Spinneroonie, and then Hendry doing the rock bottom as a return, which is obviously we've seen The Rock and Booker T do multiple times. Not that I would compare The Rock to Joe Hendry. But not only that, but also like everything kind of within the ending sequence worked really well. You know, Trick bringing in the World Championship because he's desperate kind of worked really well. And then the fact that it would actually help him in the end. And the referee, I'm not sure like if the referee maybe could have taken an extra second to throw the title out of the ring before making the pin would have sufficed. But, you know, it's one of those wrestling tropes in it where the referee has to make the pin, or does he do the right thing? But then people get mad if he doesn't make the pin straight away. And then obviously Hendry went for the standing ovation. Trick cheated again, raking at the eyes. He did a flapjack into the belt and then hit the trick shot to get the win in what was... It left me godsmacked. I can't believe they've actually put the TNA World title on an NXT superstar. Do I think this kind of confirms that WWE has bought TNA? It wouldn't surprise me. I've kind of been thinking that that's been the case for a while, though, even before they've put a title on it. But I honestly assumed that if they were going to put any TNA title on an NXT superstar, it'd be like the NXT Knockout Championships. Not the NXT Knockout Championship, the TNA Knockouts Championship, Tag Team Championship, sorry. But no, yeah, this is very surprising. Do I think that Joe Hendry is the one to win it back off Trick? There's maybe a possibility of that, though. I feel like, personally, Mike Santana's the person to take the title from Trick. I feel like that kind of moves... Well, no, I feel like, say, not this is a TNA review, but I feel like with Mike Santana being a popular babyface and Joe Hendry being a very popular babyface, they were kind of stuck in a situation where they needed a heel to win between hands. And yeah, I feel like Trick Williams is the kind of a perfect person to have in that position now. But yeah, did I think that Trick was going to get the win here? Absolutely not. Kudos to people who did pick Trick to win, because that was a ballsy move, and you definitely got it right, obviously. But yeah, no, this was a great match. This would have been this is my match of the night, really. There were some very talented matches on this card, but yeah, arguably one of the biggest shocks of the year in WWE/TNA this year. So those are my thoughts and opinions on NXT Battleground 2025. Do put down in the comments below your opinions on the show, anything that you found particularly good. Do you think that Trick Williams should be TNA World Champion, or do you think that is a mistake in the long run? Do sound off in the comments. We can have a good discussion about it. Do check out my other reviews on the channel as well. There's my TNA Under Siege review on the channel right now that I posted a couple of days ago. Tomorrow there will be my Double or Nothing review, and yeah, then there will be coverage of Worlds Collide, Against All Odds, and Money in the Bank, as well as some other wrestling content coming up as well. Lots and lots coming to the channel. For example, my favourite match from every AEW pay-per-view from 2019 to 2024 is coming up, so do check that one out. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Do like the video, do subscribe, do share, do all that good stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.